Hi everyone, I'm Kyla and this is an intro to barre thigh edition. Yes, you do have to do that movement when you say thigh edition. I don't make the rules. So these are most of the exercises that you will find in the thigh section of a barre class. We'll talk about alignment, what you should be feeling, what you should be engaging, and go from there. And feel free after the class, if you have any questions, let me know. And I'm always available for private lessons via Zoom if you want to just kind of deepen your knowledge in barre. So let's get started. Let's find a first position. So barre is based in ballet, Pilates, and yoga. So there will be a lot of terminology from those three things. So a first position in ballet is like this. Heels are together, toes are apart. We'll find a narrow V. So you'll lift your heels up, glue your heels together, and bend your knees. So base, you start at the first position, press up to the balls of your feet, glue your heels together, bend your knees. So this is kind of a lot to balance. So because it's a barre class, maybe you'd have a bar to hold on to, but if you're at home, you can hold on to a wall, counter, dresser, you got it. So here, I'll give you a little side view. You'll notice that my shoulders are stacked over hips, my knees are tracking over my toes, and my core is engaged. Now, some practices of barre will have you do like a really intense tuck. I don't exactly like that myself, but everyone moves differently. I don't want you arching your back or tucking. I want a neutral spine. So I talk about a neutral spine quite a bit because it's just neutral, where we should be, right? So I'll bring my hands to my hips. If an instructor has your hands on your hips, try to keep your fingers forward and your thumb back. If you come here, you're more likely to open your ribs. So here. When we're moving here, we'll probably do some pulses, a little lower, a little lift. Right away, I'm feeling my quadriceps, right? So these muscles right here. My core has to be engaged because everything comes from the core. Now that doesn't mean holding your breath. It just means lifting your navel in and up. Again, not sucking in or holding your breath, but there's an engagement there. So you want to imagine if someone went to like punch you in the stomach, what would you do? Engage, right? Or feel that engagement in the full exhale. Yeah, and then keep breathing there. It takes getting used to. So that is a narrow V. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Now a narrow V can also be done without the heels together, so you'll lift and just bend here. Same alignment in the torso. Cool, so its parallel counterpart is parallel. Toes, heels, knees, everything glued together. You'll press up to the balls of your feet and bend your knees. Awesome, so shoulders stacked over hips. Nice dropped tailbone. Again, we're not tucking, we're not arching. Neutral spine, lower lift. That's what you'll find a lot of here. Little tucks. If it's like an activated tuck, I do that one a lot and then it gets into the core. Also, just like the narrow V, you can take it a little wider so that it's not all together. Press up to the balls of your feet, bend your knees. Good. Whew. Okay, let's move on to a little bit of a wider stance. You have a wide second. So your feet are much wider than your hips, heels in, toes and knees out diagonally. Oftentimes I start with the arms out to the side, but whatever feels good to you. And you'll find a plie. Plie just means to bend. So you'll bend your knees are tracking over your toes. You want your stance wide enough so that your knees don't surpass. So sometimes I see this in a wide second and that's not wide. It's simply not. I feel like a crab right now. Good. So actually find a wide second, knees track over toes. Ba, ba, ba. Here's a little side view. Shoulders over hips again. So we're not in a squat where our booty goes back. This is cute, but I don't want it. Shoulders over hips. I'll tell you if I want your booty to go back. Do not fret. Shoulders over hips. Breathe. I say that cue quite a lot. Shoulders over hips, shoulders over hips. So we're not leaning forward and we're definitely not leaning back. And our knees are tracking over our toes. They're not knocking in. Ah! Good. Okay. Next up, let's find a lunge. Just a nice, clean lunge. Stepping 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. And when you lunge down, you want 2 90-degree angles. Pow, 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 right? Good. Oftentimes I see this. I'll tell you if I want the back leg extended. Most of the time, I want it here. Yeah! You feel a cute little stretch in your hip flexor and you feel your thighs. To rewind to the other exercises, your thighs are engaged in all of those and your core. Oh! You might feel a little bit of glute here, and that's good. All right, whew. Let's find its turned out counterpart, a curtsy lunge. You'll step 1 foot forward. You want that same diagonal turnout that we had in the wide second and our first position. So you'll step and step. Every teacher is a little bit different. Sometimes when I teach a curtsy, I want your feet in line, like it's one train track. And that's how I usually want it. Sometimes, if we're moving a little faster, I'll have you cross a little more and twist, engage your core. So again, this is getting your thighs and maybe a little bit of your outer thigh because you're turned out, shoulders over hips. Here's a side view. My back heel is lifted. I'm not trying to press it down. It's lifted nice and high. And my back knee goes out. Yee. If it goes in, that's a little bit dangerous for the knee. So we have tondus. Tondu means to stretch. So let's start in our first position. You'll bend your knees. I often like a bent base leg. And you'll extend one leg in front of you. This is a tondu, to stretch. I'm rotating my inner thigh up towards the ceiling. And you want to lift and lower. So you're feeling this reach out. So sometimes I'll give a side view. It's the same exact position, shoulders over hips. I'm just demonstrating that the base knee is bent and I'm lifting my leg without leaning back or forward. It will be tempting to lean back because you might want to get your leg higher, but I don't care about the height of your leg. It could lift an inch off the ground, but if you're leaning back, I don't want it. Good. Lift and lower. It's just about keeping your joints safe. When you lean back, you start to get into your low back, and that's not a good time. You want to use your low abs to lift. So, turned out tondu, you might see that rotate out and in. Beautiful. Parallel tondu. Soften your knees. Extend one leg forward. The top of my thigh is facing up towards the ceiling. Lift, lower. Yay! This is why it's barre, because normally you hold on to something. Good. Here's a little side view. Again, shoulders stacked over hips, engaging my low core. Lift and lower. We're staying nice and parallel. All right, everyone. That was your intro to barre thigh edition. Woo. So remember, that's not all of the exercises that you'll necessarily see, but it is a strong baseline. And again, reach out if you have any questions about anything, alignment, engagement, whatever it may be. And we can always schedule a virtual private little one-on-one sesh between you and me, and I can give you some tips and some guidance virtually there. And of course, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and you can also find me on Instagram at Dancer Kyla. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye.